Hello and welcome to this episode of Compensation Insider. Today, I would like to talk to you about the personalization of rewards. What we're seeing nowadays is a movement which started thanks to, I think, digitalization and the possibility of having mass customization in the consumer sector. So how do we behave nowadays? Online, we expect a lot of instant feedback that we give and that we receive. So think about it, for example, when we go to a restaurant, we can leave a review on Yelp. Whenever we have a delivery, we're asked to give a review. If we buy a service, we also have to give review. We read reviews before we search for a vacation place, a rental, or anything like that. There's a lot more transparency nowadays than there used to be. And informal communities that are formed on social media, but also offline in real world, are being used as the backbone for more customized experience. People now can be in touch with people who have the same hobbies, the same likes as they do, even if those other people are far away. And if you think about it, 30 years ago, that was not possible. But if I'm into, I don't know, underwater basket weaving, as I remember this example, I might find somebody in a country on the other side of the world who also likes it, while in my own town there might be nobody who has that kind of hobby. So we see that coming a lot. And we also of course expect to have an always on access to everything, especially thanks to this little tool, the mobile phone. So mobility and the always on access is something which is much expected. Through other aspects of consumerization, also we see mass customization. So for example, it's nowadays very easy to buy a t-shirt which we customize. We can customize our cars and so on, which those options were not really possible many years ago. I mean, there were a few options, but nowadays there are some cars that are fully customizable. There are so many things and millions of different combinations possible that there's very little chance that you would see somebody having the exact same model of that car as you do. And I'm thinking in particular, I think it was the Mini Cooper, the new version of that, which is completely customized in about 70 or 80% of cases by people. So they love the fact that they can customize the car. However, what we see is that enterprise systems in the workplace, so all the CRMs and the employee systems, that the enterprise systems that we use, such as the customer service and the finance and the logistics and so on, have very much remained in the mid-80s. They're not user-friendly and so on. And I think that within HR, I want to show you a few examples of what we can do in order to get into more of that personalization, which I think is really a heavy trend and which is going to become more and more demanded. So first, how do you get there? I think the best way is to ask employees what they want. So you can perform employee surveys. Those can be the traditional employee surveys where you tell people, okay, tell us in this list which are the things that you would prefer to implement, and then you can go for that. But I think there are nowadays ways of surveying employees that are more like focused what people do in the consumer goods, like asking people to choose between two different elements to really see where the preference goes and so on. And you can then apply a segmentation to your results. So traditional segmentations, you would differentiate between by gender, or maybe the staff and management, or maybe the sales versus non-sales. You can also look by generation, you can look by tenure in the company and so on, to try and see if you find some kind of groups of people who have some commonality in what would be good for them in their opinion in terms of the choices that you can offer as an organization. So I want to just give you some examples of how you can personalize a total rewards package in your own organization. I think that for most people, the first thing that when they hear personalization of rewards, they think of flexible benefits. This has been around for a few years in some parts of the world. So That's where, for example, you have a core package of benefits that you offer to all employees, and then you give them a choice, like within your healthcare, you know, do you want to have more dental or more optic cover or things like that. We see also personalization coming into everything that has to do with pension or savings plans, where people can choose the kind of investment which is made, you know, the profile of risk. They can choose the amount that they contribute and so on. They can do additional voluntary contributions and so on. So this is more customized to their needs and so on. Employee assistance programs also are a good way to personalize the total rewards, because basically it's often a bouquet of services that that are offered by the employer through third-party providers. And the employee can use those as they need. So they might need somebody to give them some kind of legal advice because, I don't know, they want to prepare a will, or there is an inheritance coming, or there's a divorce or something like that. They can try to get second medical opinion. They can get psychological support or anything like that when they need. And that's offered as part of a package. And the employee can use that in an anonymous manner. So that's a great way for them to really tailor their usage to their specific needs. In another area there where we see customization and personalization is, of course, in the recognition, employee recognition space, where we see more and more peer-to-peer recognition. And we see systems that allow to create, for example, badges. The project or the team might create specific badges for their own project. You see informal communities springing up, providing instant feedback on each other's wall and so on. So we can see that as well, where the communication is not just coming from the top down, you know, from management to the employees, or sometimes bottom up when you have some kind of formalized survey or focus group, but also peer-to-peer, and in a way where people can come together and bond as and when needed. With COVID, we've also seen personalization, and I think this is going to become more permanent in terms of the flexible working conditions that companies can offer, you know, like a permanent option to work from home, or a hybrid model where you have like regional hubs instead of one just big headquarters, and people can go and work there whenever they want. Flexible working days, flexible working hours, part-time work, which is not very strong in the GCC, but should definitely, I think, be considered. And I want to finish by an example that I read about. So I don't know exactly which companies are doing that. They're a European company. And what they're doing is that they're offering flexibility in the package itself. So during the recruitment process, or in the offer stage, they're experimenting with offering some alternatives. So for example, they might say, okay, dear employee, future employee, we would like to offer you a choice. Would you like to receive 5% more on your annual guaranteed base pay, or 10% additional on the upside in your own target bonus? So for example, instead of having a bonus target at 10%, we might offer you 20%. They might also say, or do you prefer more base pay, 5% more base pay, or 13 extra days off per year? And that allows the employee and the candidate to customize their package based on what they feel is better for them. And I think it's a great way. I think organizations should definitely consider doing things like that. It's not an extra cost. It's actually built into your package. You say, okay, overall, my cost is going to be X. If I take out a part of that, how can I value it? So do I give it with certainty, a bit less in the base pay, or do I give more in the variable pay with an upside, or do I give less, more on the base pay, or more in terms of days off and things like that? And I think that if you look around, we're going to see more and more of that. We see this trend already happening learning and development, for example, where people can attend, online classes. They are offered the subscription, for example, to a learning management system where they can access tens or even hundreds of trainings, and they can pick and choose whichever one they want to follow, and so on. So we already see that in other aspects of HR, and I think that is going to come and continue to grow in the total rewards space. So I hope you enjoy that, and if you have some examples to share, I would be very happy to learn about them. So don't hesitate, leave a comment and follow me, and I will see you next week. Thank you.